Gulf governor to go on trial for alleged misappropriation. Global climate deal expected to be signed marking World Earth Day. And opening a road connecting rural Western Province.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Friday's news. Gulf Governor Havila Kavo will stand trial at the National Court for alleged misappropriation. Committal Court Magistrate John Kaumi ruled today that there was sufficient evidence against Kavo to warrant him to stand trial. Vasinata Yama reports.
It is alleged that between the 5th and 27th of January last year, Governor Kavo, acting as the governor and chairman of Gulf Economic Development Authority, obtained funds belonging to Gulf Provincial Government. A check of 1.1 million kina was paid as dividends by the Mineral Resource Development Corporation to the provincial government. It is alleged that the governor instructed the managing director of Gulf Economic Development Authority, Micah Akia, and its general manager, Willie Simoy, to collect the check and deposit it into the authority's bank account, when in fact it should have been deposited into the provincial government's account first. Gulf Economic Development Authority was set up as a trust company established by the provincial government to manage and invest funds for the people of Gulf. After deposited, it was alleged that up to 783,195 kina 70 toya was withdrawn in that same month of January. It was alleged that it was done without the consent or authorization of the Provincial Assembly and the Provincial Executive Council. Despite Kavo's submission that the police investigation and evidence are well below standard and are insufficient, Magistrate Kaumi said it is a matter for the National Court to decide. He said for now, there are sufficient evidences on the essential elements of the misappropriation charge. Meanwhile, the matter will return to court on May 5, when Kavo and his lawyer will file a Section 39 statement. The statement is in response to the District Court finding and committal for trial at the National Court. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
An elderly woman in her 60s was killed early this morning at the 5 Mile Ridge area in a hit-and-run incident. Eyewitnesses say the deceased, who is from Central Province, was crossing the road when she was hit by a speeding vehicle. The driver of the vehicle continued without stopping. Bystanders, including family members, rushed to help the woman, who unfortunately died immediately upon impact. The corpse was brought to the Port Moresby General Hospital morgue and a formal police complaint has been laid by the family. EMTV has been advised that the driver is now in police custody for questioning. Monday this week saw the opening of a long-awaited road development in the Western Province. The rehabilitation of the Ironbark to Lake Murray Road took 2 years to complete. A day of festivities and speeches marked the official opening of this road project, which was attended by communities and stakeholders involved.
The road cost 59.9 million kina, and all that funding came from the Western Province People's Development Trust Fund, which is managed by the Octady Development Fund. Along with a 45-kilometer road upgrade, the project involved building a port as well. This port and road will now make it easier for the 7,000-plus people of Lake Murray to access services in Kiunga and will also help with their economic activities.
We have been problem with exporting rubber, cocoa takes. Sometimes 1 year our people are waiting with rubber, but with you coming in, supporting Lake Murray community with this road.
At the opening of the road, the OTDF CEO Ian Middleton highlighted the part played by the communities within the CMCA or Community Mine Continuation Agreement in the upgrade of this road.
You may stand up here, the ground to Lake Murray, you may not stand up inside the CMCA.
You plus sana patem tried, but thank you, namas na talk. Thank you. All the CMCA leaders loyal. Give me some money.
The opening of the road was witnessed by OTML executives and government officials, with the keynote address delivered by the Middlefly MP, Roy Biyama.
So I'm very pleased with the Octeri and the CMCA communities, leaders. Thank you very much for putting money.
The importance of building roads, especially to link rural communities that border the Western and Sundown provinces, was highlighted in the past week after the tragic plane crash in Kiunga that killed 11 people from Telefomin and an Australian. While this Ayambak to Lake Murray Road has been built using CMCA funding, plans are in place to construct a road worth 300 million kina from Tabobil to Telefomin, which is supposed to be funded by the government with the support from partners such as OTML. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The National Economic and Fiscal Commission has two commissioners. They are Dr. Alphonse Gelu and Uvenama Rova. The pair were sworn in yesterday by Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Michael Ogio following their appointment by the NEC for a period of 4 years. The key role of the NEFC is to assess and monitor the economic and fiscal policies of the national and subnational governments, advise on appropriate economic policies, and make recommendations to Parliament on financial arrangements and allocation of grants. Dr. Gelu is Registrar of Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates Commission, and Mr. Rova will represent the churches in the commission. He is currently the Assembly Secretary of the United Church of PNG. The appointment of the two commissioners brings the total number of NEFC commissioners to 3, which include the chairman and CEO, Mr. Suve. PNG Power has advised the general public in Lae, Madang and the Highlands region that load shedding will be carried out this weekend. This is due to the shutdown of the Ramu hydropower station to allow for major maintenance work on 2 of the machines at Yonki Power Station. The shutdown will be at 2 a.m. on Saturday to 12 a.m. on Sunday. Those with standby generators are asked to use them during the period of the shutdown. PNG Power has apologized for any inconvenience caused. You're with National EMTV News this Friday. Join us after this commercial break. Welcome back to the news. Port Moresby-based police officers are believed to have threatened a newspaper journalist with arrest for his contact with suspended head of the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate, Matthew Damaru. The journalist, who writes for the national newspaper, told MTV off camera this afternoon that the threat was in relation to ongoing contact he had with the suspended director of the fraud squad. The journalist said the threat was issued around 1 p.m. today by 2 separate police officers. The moment all police personnel have been anticipating has arrived. The police union signed an agreement with Life Insurance Corporation PNG Limited yesterday to provide life and funeral insurance for its members. However, those who will benefit are the 6,000 union members. Police Commissioner Gary Baki, who was present at the signing, announced that this is the first of other benefits that will come later, especially for his policemen and women. Some of those benefits are the review of the police retirement and housing scheme, medical insurance, and to elevate and improve their well-being. He advised his members to join the union so that they can also benefit.
To become members of the police union. And that should be a driving force that I will emphasize on my 2 deputies.
In the event of a unlikely event of a claim, we are able to compensate or pay for those unfortunate members of the police force who pass away.
Water supply cut to the Buimo jail in Lae may prove devastating to the correctional institution, already facing problems that include overcrowding and shortage of rations. In February, overcrowding was said to have caused a breakout at the jail where 87 prisoners escaped and 12 prisoners were shot and killed by police. It was also cited that prisoners were kept under poor hygiene conditions.
Buimo Jail's accumulative problem with overcrowding jail blocks will have taken new heights in the next weeks to come when prisoners don't have water. Yesterday, Water PNG made sure that supply wouldn't flow from any taps within the Buimo Jail compounds by cutting supply after a 1.6 million kina bill wasn't settled.
Nationwide water supply disconnection to all the customers, especially to all our top priority customers who haven't paid up their bills, water bills. So that's the whole purpose we are doing our disconnection to all.
The prison holds around 700 prisoners in jails built to hold lesser numbers.
With the shutting down of the water, it's going to affect us, including our prisoners. So if you look at the current population of the prisoners now, it's about 700. Plus the 800 is almost 1,500. So we will be critically affected.
Buimo Jail Commander Felix Namane has been in the office for less than a month and already faces these challenges. He is now pleading with headquarters in Port Moresby to pay for the outstanding bills.
The Commissioner has to do something now to pay off this 1.6 million kina bill to PNG Water. And in Buimo we have other problems with rations and after the last escape. These are accumulated problems. And
the existing poor state of the Buimo jail has already caused many reported escapes in the past. February's breakout at the Buimo jail brought to attention the overcrowdedness and the poor state at which prisoners are kept, especially remandees who are waiting for their court appearances. Authorities mustn't treat the breakouts and the water supply cut in isolation, because when prisoners find it difficult to survive in those conditions, they may cause another prison break in the near future. The most recent was in February when 87 prisoners escaped from Buimo. 12 prisoners were later shot and killed by police. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
Madang Governor Jim Carr says the Manam resettlement bill passed by Parliament recently is worth billions. He said this during his recent visit to the Manam Islanders at the care centres. The governor also pointed out that the bill will not only benefit the islanders, but their host communities and develop the Bogia district as a whole. Rachel Shise has this story.
The Manam Resettlement Authority Bill, passed in Parliament with 91 votes to 0 unopposed, is worth billions of kina.
Manam Resettlement Authority, no bill nothing. Bill come and big money. Number of money close to long 3-4 billion kina. Now misappropriation plan the blue line man but was some you should name long mibla long since lagan money come how about mibla benefit. And work now is start long Dr. Boga figure. Provincial administrator, long talk long how long mibla is now mibla.
The Madang Governor Jim Carr, in his recent visit to the care centres and Manam Island, explained to the islanders that the resettlement was delayed as a result of a clash between the two MRA bills, one of which was tabled by the Bogia MP, John Hickey. With the resettlement bill passed instead of the restoration bill, the governor says amendments have been made and the Bogia MP or any other politician for that matter will not be chairman of the MRA board.
Now, chairman long authority by one man Papua New Guinea, where he got big products long here, our side.
The governor assured the host communities, both at the new resettlement location at Andarum and those who have housed the islanders for 12 years at the care centres, that they will benefit from this billion kina MRA bill.
Thank you all people of Andarum, long accepting this black challenge, long sit down him, 20,000 manams plus, 20,000 manams. number.
The provincial administrator, Daniel Aloy, in addition, clarified to the islanders that they will be privileged to have 2 places to call home.
Island by Stapet, I think you play mas privilege or sem. You block a 2 place, suppose this blow can be karam kai. Nogat Pamplaman by Rausim Island Loyubla.
Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Lay's Bank South Pacific customers at the Top Town branch will no longer stand in long lines waiting long hours to do their banking. The branch has developed a more customer-friendly environment with the inclusion of new seats. The new setup will also cut down on the waiting time for customers and will help them serve customers effectively.
The original setup of this office was very small. It did not have enough space for customers.
The original setup of this place was really small.
The new setup includes the expansion of the landing waiting area with 5 additional counters. This will also cater for more officers as well. The sitting area has also been extended with new seats for customers to sit down while waiting for their turn to be served.
Customers can come and sit here comfortably.
Apart from the new landing waiting area, the old premium space was extended to cater for general enquiry, opening of new accounts, collecting of statements and lodging of application for damaged or stolen cards. This new area will also include the Western Union and international money transfers.
We have also gone as far as setting up agents so the customers can do the banking out at the remote areas instead of taking the risk to come into the bank. So the bank has given all those options to the customers, and it's the customers to make that choice. Okay, but otherwise, we trust that the customers will enjoy the new setup.
Customers who went to visit the bank this morning were pleased with the new arrangement. Customers expressed the frustration of standing in long lines and waiting many hours, but said they are now happy with the new changes.
Good plus service, long providing enough space, long all. Client can come sit down, make him more glowly can you see. Long only yet, now only must. You got time, long go back, long on a map, only come long end.
Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lay.
And now, looking at our finance news, the kina opened unchanged at $0.3185 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3110 $0.3989 Australian dollars, $0.2724 euro, and 33.78 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa closed higher, gold and coffee closed lower, while copra closed the day unchanged. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 113.75 points lower, the ASX closed at 35.61 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 36.49 points lower. Among stories after the break, celebrating World Earth Day and the death of American music legend Prince. Welcome back to the news. 2 aviation students from the Asia Pacific Institute of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies, or APSETS, will further their aviation studies at the Cairns Aviation College in Australia. 19-year-old Emmanuel Hagua from Hela Province and 22-year-old Ben Frank Tatting from Western Province are APSET's pioneer aviation students to study overseas. Eric Harupma with this report.
The dreams of 2 local aviation students from the Asia Pacific Institute of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies have finally been realized. After completing 6 months of basic aviation courses with local institution APSETS, they were selected to advance their studies at Cairns Aviation College in Australia. 19-year-old Emmanuel Agua from Hela Province and 22-year-old Ben Frank Tatting from Western Province thanked APSETS for creating a pathway for them to attain aviation studies overseas. For both students, it has been a long and tough journey. Ben Frank from the remote North Flight district of Western Province said after acquiring a pilot license, he will return to Tabubil to fly Hawk 30 Desert plane as part of his contribution to his people and also fulfill commitment to his sponsors, Hawk 30 Development Foundation. Emmanuel's mother, Rose, speaking on behalf of the parents, said it's a great opportunity that they are given a second chance. She also thanked APSS for its assistance in sponsoring their child.
These are the two that we are witnessing. Is the next result that is from APSS. So to our son and the other young son, we wish them all the best. Opportunity comes once, you grab hold of it and do what you can, and so that you achieve your dream.
The cost of acquiring overseas pilot license is 50,000 Australian dollars, which is equivalent to over 100,000 kina. The two aviation students flew this morning to Cairns Aviation College in Australia. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Close to 1,000 students graduated from the University of Goroka this week. Interim Chancellor Dr. Joseph Sukwenom called on the graduates to be the change in the education system.
Despite the unrest late last year, the University of Goroka successfully held its 19th graduation this week with a record in the number of graduates. This ceremony was attended by parents, university administration, stakeholders, Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar, Ambassador for Japan, Eastern Islands Governor Julie Soso, and the Interim Council. In his opening remarks, Interim Chancellor Dr. Joseph Sukwenom spoke of the university's downfall during the unrest and where it is now and the plans to transform the institution.
Many of the statutes that are in place have been outdated, so we are reviewing that so that we can comply with the provisions of the Higher Education Act.
His words to the 700-plus graduates was to revitalize the education system and be the change to improve the education sector.
I urge you to be the ambassadors of change. Change in all the ways, including governance, including upholding the laws.
Students graduated in the fields of postgraduate, bachelor in education in both in-service and pre-service in secondary and primary, including other fields like health, business, TVET, applied science, agriculture and tourism. Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar said UOG will lift its standard to have competent teachers,
so that future graduates of University of Goroka are fully equipped with the knowledge and skills required to train and educate future school leavers that are well qualified for tertiary education study.
Students were then accepted by the Teaching Service Commission. For these proud parents from Oskins in West New Britain, they witnessed 4 siblings graduating in different fields. Proud parents Philibert and Sylvia Kadiko could not express the achievement when MTV caught up with them.
We challenge also aspiring family and education, it's an achievement, it's 3 in 1 in the family. I think it's a history. No family, no community.
Jack Lapava Jr., National MTV News.
Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology Minister Malakai Tabar says universities must improve the way they handle student unrest and protest. He says suppressing students' rights is a negative impression.
Government-run universities around the country have all experienced and gone through student protest and unrest in the past 3 years. All these have come down to poor administration by governing councils and poor representation by students. Serious cases of alleged misconduct and abuse of funds were at the forefront as the leading cause of unrest. Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar said recent protests by students show maturity but must be handled by universities.
The difficulties of students and students' study life must be heard. There must be avenues through which we can understand and address all this. To think that we can suppress students is not going to work. I'm sorry.
From the department level, Health Secretary Professor David Kavanamur said if governing councils are questionable, the 2014 Provisional Act will see the minister step in.
Department level, we have ensured that policy reforms have taken place, structural changes have taken place within the department to ensure that different manners of crisis are handled.
Moving forward, the HEST secretary said efforts have been made to improve all universities.
Going forward, there requires to be a need for a major culture change within our respective universities towards governance, improve corporate governance, improve accountability, and we have in council that is seeking to evaluate to the goals and objectives of the universities themselves.
Both the Higher Education Minister and Secretary made these statements following recent unrest at University of Gorkha in 2015, University of Research, Science and Technology this year, and Unitec in 2013. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
PNG Teachers Association is pushing for better terms and conditions for teachers. President Tommy Heko said they have submitted their log of claims to the government. One of the claims is for better standards for teachers in rural areas in order to attract them to remote areas of the country.
PNG Teachers Association yesterday lodged a log of claims to review the current fixation agreement, which will expire December 31st this year. The submission will give rise to effect negotiations for a new salary fixation agreement for the next 3 years.
Over the last 3 months, there has been an extensive work done by the Office of the National General Secretary, the team of professional staff, who had put the documents together in order to review the current salary and other terms and conditions for the members of teaching service in Papua New Guinea.
One of the concerns also submitted was the base salaries for teachers and other public servants. The association believes that base level salaries were lower than the public servant admin clerks. The national president, Tommy Heko, says that they recognize the current financial state the government is facing, but teachers' pays was a priority for the association and asked the government to consider the importance of teachers.
Imperative that our teachers deserve a better incentives and attraction in order to retain them in very remote schools.
The association also wanted a pay increase for teachers teaching in the remote areas of Papua New Guinea to attract more.
The association supports the government that rural remote attraction and incentives be improved in order for teachers to serve in rural remote schools or communities.
The national president has called on all financial members and teachers throughout the country to support the association as current negotiations are being conducted. Adelaide Siraks-Kari, National EMTV News.
Earth Day is marked each year on April 22nd. It was first celebrated in 1970 and it marked the birth of the modern environmental movement. Earth Day is now coordinated globally by the Earth Day Network and celebrated in more than 193 countries, where events are held to demonstrate support for environmental protection.
On Earth Day 2016, the historic Paris Agreement is scheduled to be signed in New York, marking an important step towards implementing the world's first global climate deal. A record number of countries are expected to attend, and the agreement is scheduled to be signed by the United States, China, and some 120 countries, including Papua New Guinea. The signing satisfies a key requirement for the entry into force of the historic Draft Climate Protection Treaty, adopted by consensus of the 195 nations present at the 2015 UN Climate Change Conference in Paris, also known as COP21. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill was also in attendance of that conference. According to the European Union, Paris was just the beginning. Building on the successful alliances made in Paris will be crucial, as countries, both developed and developing, will need each other's help to keep on track towards a global clean energy transition. That, the EU says, is the only way to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius and limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Global temperatures have reached record levels, and the impact of climate change continues to threaten lives and destabilize entire regions. On Earth Day, nations of the world are reminded that collective action is more vital than ever. Deli Waigeno, National, MTV News.
Prince, the innovative U.S. music superstar whose songwriting and eccentric stage presence electrified fans around the world with hits including Purple Rain and When Doves Cry, died yesterday in Minnesota. The 57-year-old singer and musician's influential genre-defying music combined jazz, funk, R&B and disco, winning 7 Grammy Awards and an Oscar.
For a spin with his music and with his style. When word came,
Prince has left us.
Aretha Franklin put it like this.
It's such a blow.
And the purple tributes started to rain down. Rest in purple. From the unknown and the famous. Madonna Instagrammed this photo. Katy Perry tweeted, and just like that, the world lost a lot of magic. The Apollo Theater changed its marquee in honor of the beautiful one, or as the media used to call him,
the artist formerly known as Prince.
Those were the days when he had surrendered his name for a symbol.
Can you tell us what it signifies?
Me.
CNN even identified him on screen by the symbol morphing between male and female.
Let's say you're different.
As compared to what?
Nothing compared to Prince.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
He wore his fame lightly.
I'm Prince. How rude of me. I haven't given you enough time to freak out yet. You may do so now.
Oh my God! His interviews were rare.
I don't look back much at all. I try to stay in the now and live in the now. No, I think it keeps you young.
And now he's died, relatively young.
At the age of 57.
He played the guitar as if it were a woman, and a woman as if she were a guitar. He even wrote his instrument. One of the more touching tweeted tributes was simply captioned, "When my teacher found out, Prince died." It's one of those days to just hold your head in your hands.
Trukai Sports is next. Details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The fifth encounter between Auckland City FC and Team Wellington this season has the highest stakes yet as they vie for the coveted regional club title. Defending champions Auckland City are gunning for their 6th title in a row and a record 8th in total, while Team Wellington are aiming for their maiden crown after coming so close in last year's final.
The two sides met in 2015 title decider that went down to the wire with the two teams still deadlocked after extra time. The Navy Blues held their nerve to edge past their rivals in a tense penalty shootout to earn passage to the FIFA Club World Cup.
Auckland City have been unable to add to their tally.
This year's final promises to be another keenly contested encounter, especially after Team Wellington's heroics to snatch the New Zealand title at the expense of Auckland City last month. Both sides' road to the final has been relatively comfortable. Auckland City topped Group A with victories over Lay City dwellers Solomon Warriors and Amical before beating AS Stefana 4-2 and booked their place in the final. Meanwhile, the New Zealand champions' campaign looked perhaps a little less convincing. The men from the capital were made to work hard for their wins against Suva FA and AS Lossie before hitting their straps to East Passecara United in the top of the table Group B decider. While the 4-0 win over 2010 champions was a big confidence booster, Matt Calcott's side produced another battling performance to edge past Magenta with a nervy 2-0 win in the semi-final. Admittedly, Wellington was missing service of a couple of key players, including suspended captain Bill Robertson and prolific striker Ben Harris, who is nursing a leg injury.
Halpin against Makalu. Fenarides, now Corrales, who's...
Calcott will be pleased to have Robertson back, but he admits Harris is still in a doubt for the final. However, Team Wellington's boss is confident his side will be competitive. The OFC Champions final between Auckland City FC and Team Wellington at the QBE Stadium in Auckland, New Zealand, and will be live on EMTV from 12 noon this Saturday. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
There will be 4 stadiums used during the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in November. Chief Executive Officer of the Under-20 Local Organizing Committee, Seamus Martin, says construction and upgrade of the venues is yet to start.
The Sejongkai Stadium, development of Bava Park, a new stadium which will be built in the Sejongkai precinct, and the home of the Hunters, the National Football Stadium, will be used during the World Cup.
5,000 seat venues to FIFA minimum requirements. The dressing rooms, referee rooms, all of those facilities are included in those designs as well. So
construction materials are in China and will be arriving in the country soon for work to start. The Sir Hubert Murray Stadium will not be used.
Never say never. At this stage, we were put in a position by FIFA where we had to confirm 4 venues moving forward, and there was really no clarity on when the construction of Sir Hubert Murray would be finished and what would be completed in terms of those minimum requirements. So a decision was made to progress with the second 5,000 seat stadium on the Sejongkai precinct, and we've moved forward with that decision now.
Meanwhile, construction of all 17 training sites for the World Cup has begun. The venues are Bisini, Sejongkai Stadium, Murray Barracks, University of Papua New Guinea, Institute of Public Administration, Garahu Secondary School, Gordon Secondary School, Port Moresby National High School and Port Moresby International School. Porohu Engineering is working tirelessly to ensure that the training fields meet requirements set by FIFA. The training venues are said to be ready by August. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The newly formed PNG Mixed and Men's Netball Association is an initiative of the PBG Netball Association to promote and showcase the talented male and female mixed players of PNG at an international level. Mike Hoime reports.
Last night was the second night of the PNG Mixed and Men's Netball competition. The number of men playing the Mixed and Men's Netball competition in NCD has increased over the past 2 rounds, with almost 20% of the players new arrivals to the game. Adam Parker, the PNG Men's Mixed Netball Association president, said the mixed and men's netball is an extremely physical and competitive sport.
So many people up here who love the game of netball, so many men that actually love playing netball as well, and the potential for international representation from just the teams that we've got at the moment is massive.
You will be surprised by how much momentum the men's game has picked up, and last night's round 2 games showed it all, when the male players showed enhancement in the game with quick steps, high fly jumps and shooting long hoop shoots. The PNG Men's Mixed Netball competition is now in their second phase, leading up to their training for the New Zealand Men's Mixed Netball competition that will be held in October this year. Mike Hoime, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. In Super Rugby, this weekend is the Anzac Day weekend, and all teams will be battling out for a win to lead their respective conferences. The Sharks just slipped short of a win against the Blues last weekend and will have a heavy challenge on hand tonight as they take on the Highlanders in Dunedin, while the Reds return from a week off to face the Stormers in Cape Town tomorrow.
The 4th Super Rugby match on Saturday is an inter-conference match in Cape Town, where the Stormers host the Reds. Both teams will be coming off a loss from last week as the Stormers were beaten by the Lions and the Bulls beat the Reds. Both matches were played away from home by these teams. The Reds beat the Highlanders before they left for this tour, and at times they threatened the Bulls, especially Samu Kerevi, but the Bulls brought them back down to earth with a 41-22 loss. The Stormers were beaten 29-22 in Johannesburg, but this was only their second loss this season. They have played 7 matches and lost 2. The Reds, in comparison, have also played 7 and won 6. The Stormers have played the Reds 17 times in Super Rugby, and they have won 10 matches and lost 7. The Reds have been boosted by the return of lock Rob Simmons, who has recovered from a shoulder injury. Simmons is one of 2 changes from last week, and Curtis Browning comes into the team to replace number 8 Jake Scatz, who was injured in the loss to the Bulls. The Stormers have a strong record against all teams at home and a very strong record against the Reds, who are still finding the game under the new coaching team. The Stormers will have to keep a very close eye on Samu Kerevi. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Brisbane Broncos coach Wayne Bennett has applauded the NRL's move towards scraping the golden point in finals football. The competition's rules committee is set to host discussions in favor of a new approach to extra time in the playoffs.
There's the kickoff. Let the party begin.
There is talk that the NRL will look to implement a national football league. Under this proposal, a team would receive a full set of 6 after conceding a field goal in extra time, a right of replay. But in what is essentially golden try, if a try is scored at any time in extra time, then the game is immediately finished and the team that scored the try would be victorious. Bennett knows all too well about the pain of golden point, with Brisbane's infamous 1-point loss in the 2015 decider, sparking debate in the rugby league community. Broncos halfback Ben Hunt knocked on off the kickoff in golden point, all but ending his team's chances of winning their 7th premiership. North Queensland Cowboys halfback Jonathan Thurston kicked a field goal in the next set, and the game was won off virtually 1 set of 6. The proposal to change the process will be discussed at the coaches' meeting next month, and Bennett said the possible rule changes a step in the right direction. Bennett's negative stance on golden point has been unwavering since the competition introduced the rule in 2003. However, the rule itself will stay in the game, with it still to be used to decide regular season fixtures that are level at 80 minutes. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: in the southern region, a shower or 2 for Port Moresby and Popondetta, few showers for Daru and Kerma, and mostly fine for Alatau. And that's the way it is this Friday. From the news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Good night.